All this week, CNBC is identifying the results of a study we've done on those states that are good for business. And right now we want to look at the issue of union membership. Right now, union membership in the United States stands around 12% of the workforce, down from 20% in 1983. The question we're pondering now is, are unions, for the most part, good or bad for business? Joining us with their thoughts, Mark Mix, who's president of the National Right to Work Committee. Mary Beth Maxwell is director of American Rights at Work. And we're joined once again by our senior correspondent, Scott Cohn, who is traveling in the country right now, counting down those top states for business. And Scott, North Carolina is where you are today. That is a right to work state, right?
It is, and that's one of the reasons that North Carolina captured our honors for the top workforce in the country. It wasn't just, though, because of union membership. It's a or lack of union membership. It's a fast-growing population. It's a well-educated population, and unemployment here is a little bit high, which makes workers here available. But a lot of companies do like the fact that this is not a union state.
Mark, if we can do first names all around, Mark, you obviously favor right to work versus unionization. Why?
Absolutely, Bill. And first of all, let's define what right to work is. It means that a worker has the choice whether or not to pay dues or join a labor union as a condition of employment. It's not inherently anti-union. It certainly is the freedom to choose whether or not to join a union. And that makes a radical difference in a business climate across the country.
But in the scheme of things, the flexibility of not having to join makes workers more productive?
Well, what it does, it makes union officials more accountable to rank and file workers, which we believe helps the economic vitality of a state and a workplace. Absolutely.
Mary Beth, what do you think?
Well, most of the evidence actually indicates that whether or not a state is a right to work state does not factor very much into businesses' decisions about where to locate. And the good news is you don't have to be anti-union to be profitable. And there's a growing number of really successful companies that are demonstrating just that they can respect workers' choice and workers' freedom to form unions, and also run very, very successful companies.
Mary Beth, it would seem to me that it depends on the kind of job we're talking about. Manufacturing jobs tend to lend themselves more to unionization, whereas service-oriented jobs don't, for the most part. What do you think?
Well, let me give you a good example, and that would be AT&T. Last year, AT&T, what's now AT&T Wireless, was Singular Wireless. That's the nation's largest cell phone service. They decided that the workers could have a choice, right? If the workers wanted to form a union, it was up to them. A majority of them did, not all of them did, but a majority of them did. They bargained a contract. And then management and workers in the union worked together to provide a really, really high-quality cell phone service. But, even in manufacturing, an example would be Harley-Davidson. They respect workers' choice. They work with workers in their unions, and they say, we can and we will keep good manufacturing jobs here in the United States.
Mark, aren't unionized workers, people work side by side, one's unionized, one's not. Don't the unionized workers tend to make more money?
Well, if you don't figure in the cost of living, you can go through that whole economic discussion of the cost of living. But let's get back to manufacturing jobs. Over the last 20 years, there's been a 19% increase in manufacturing jobs, private sector manufacturing jobs in right-to-work states. That's almost 87% higher than those forced unionism states that don't honor a worker's right to choose. Just in the last 5 years, the five-fold increase in manufacturing jobs in right-to-work states over non-right-to-work states. The fact is, workers are not choosing compulsory unionism across the country. Only 7.4%, 7.5% of the private sector workforce has chosen to join a union, yet union officials demand compulsion to maintain those rates. It doesn't work economically. Freedom works, and freedom in the workplace works absolutely.
Scott, I happen to know in North Carolina there are a number of jobs have been lost as companies outsource, especially in the manufacturing industry, for furniture and carpeting and things like that. They send it overseas. They can have it made cheaper there. That's a problem that states have and manufacturers have. You either can offer a living wage or and not make as much of a profit, or send the job overseas and profit more there.
Well, yeah, but what's happened here, and has happened in a lot of states in the South and really across the country, is where they've lost jobs, say in furniture and areas like that. There's a lot of work coming into this state in particular in areas like biotech, high-tech research. They're better paying jobs. By and large, they're not union jobs. And I can tell you that the states, whether or not workers choose to join a union or not, the states are very big at, the right-to-work states anyway, very big at marketing the fact that they are a right-to-work state as they try and attract businesses. That was sort of the basis as we did this study. We wanted to weight the factors based on how states market, and those that are right-to-work states, those 22 or so states, they push it big, and apparently they're having some results.
Mary Beth, I'm going to give you the last word on that. Do you think people misunderstand that term? I mean, you had to identify it for us at the top here.
Yeah, no, I think people really do misunderstand that. And I also think, in terms of the last word, in this 21st century global economy, what we need is more innovation and more collaboration, and I think forward-thinking business leaders need that. We absolutely can have profitable business and a strong middle class in the United States, and that means respecting workers' rights. We can do that.
Thank you all, folks. Mark, Mary Beth, Scott, we'll see you later as well.
Thank you, Bill.